Welcome to Compas F.C. This is episode 10. Time flies, but here we are again. Eddie Rodriguez, J.C. Cervantes, back with another episode. Obviously, a lot of stuff happening in the world of the beautiful game. I don't know if you can call it an upset or if you call it J.C. already knew it was going to happen. But obviously, big news out of the weekend was Manchester United with the upset over Man City. Definitely a big game. Eddie and I got up at 3:30 in the morning. We went to a pub at our pubs open at 4:30. Of course, when there's soccer on, there's obviously pubs open. So we went to go watch it together. Interesting. I don't even think Eddie that the sun had come up before we even left the pub after the game was over. And obviously, I was still half asleep because I took a wrong turn and we went over the Coronado Bridge. But I told Eddie I was just here to show you the views, bro. Don't trip. This is what we're doing. But guys, good to see you guys again. Eddie, how are you doing?
Doing well. What's up? What's up? Big news, big games, lots to talk about.
JC?
Oh, great. Never been better. Another lock. 2-1 United.
That's what we talk about, locks. But let's get started with the big game of the day or of the weekend. Manchester United, like we said, beats Man City 2-1. JC, how did they get this done?
They executed. They played lights out football. They really just defended home. They knew they were in Old Trafford. They knew what the game meant. It was bigger than just another, match versus Man City. A lot at stake. And Ten Hag really came out and just proved everybody wrong. They thought they were going to get ran over again. Some people here picked a tie. I don't know why, but, here we are. Another dub.
Eddie, what went right for Manchester United?
I think their transition game. We saw it. They're pretty clinical when they're in transition. I think even Pep hinted at it at his press conference, his post press conference. Three touches and they're in the opposition's box or the opposition midfield. So um, I think the pace created a lot of problems for them. Again, three touches and they're in the opposition box. I think Man City failed to execute their game plan. It's just one of those classic Pep scenarios where he's overthinking the lineup and it costed him some points.
So JC, obviously, at the beginning, it was first half. It was basically back and forth, a little bit here, a little bit there. But in the second half, it really got going, especially with when Jack Grealish came in. Uh, Daniel and Eddie and I kind of looked at each other. We're like, "Ooh, he may be the game changer here." And right away, he scores a header and kind of puts him up 1-0. But what do you think Ten Hag said to the guys, and how do you feel like they were able to rally back, kind of get themselves going? Because being down 1-0, and then Man City kind of went on the attack, but it feels like they really stayed together and they were able to say, I mean, I'm no pun intended, united and keep on moving forward. But JP, how were they able to
Cheeky.
do that?
No, honestly, I feel like everybody's bought in. We touched on it last week. Ten Hag's not worried about a price tag or anything like that. He doesn't really care who you are or what resume you bring to the table. The best players are going to play every time. And he definitely showed it today. He stuck to his guns, basically repeated the lineup. I almost predicted it right on the button as well. And, the only lapse in defense that they had was that goal from Jack Grealish. That was really about it. Other than that, I mean, obviously he's going to catch him by surprise. Nobody expected him really to come on so soon. You don't really see Foden subbed off after 45 minutes, but Wan-Bissaka just had him in his pockets the whole time. There was no choice but to go in there and make a sub like that to try to impact the game. And it worked in his favor, credit to that. But, the squad really knew that they could play up to their level and beat them out. And they did it. They mentally were prepared for the game and they just played lights out football, man. They played for the crest. It was a beautiful thing to see.
Eddie, what happened with Erling Haaland? Why was he a non-factor in this game?
I think you can give credit to Casemiro and Fred. I think they really shut down Man City's midfield and creative midfield and Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. They never really got the ball going. You've seen them trying to go to the outside into Phil Foden, and Phil Foden couldn't do anything. It looked like Mahrez was the most dangerous player throughout the game. until Jack Grealish came on and was a spark off the bench. So credit to Casemiro and Fred for sticking to that game plan, especially Fred. It looked like at times he was man marking Kevin De Bruyne. And J.C. hinted at it the other day in the chat. It's like, oh, it's giving me Ander Herrera throwback vibes when he was out there man marking and locking down players. So, great on them and great on Ten Hag for executing that game plan.
JC, there were obviously ESPN and all these networks had to come out and say controversial goal gives the win to Manchester United. Explain to people why Bruno Fernandes' goal was goal and not as controversial as people thought.
Yeah, I think Peacock recapped it really well. I mean, there's a list. He didn't really touch. He didn't touch the ball. He didn't cause any players to move towards him or take him into consideration for anything. If they read the law back again, somebody could find the bit somewhere. We're not going to waste time on it too much because he wasn't offsides. We went to VAR. VAR decided no or yes. They said it's a goal. It's a goal. They read the rule back on the Peacock stream. I don't remember it word for word, so don't expect me to quote it, but all I know is that it is a goal. And honestly, just a quick recap again on Pep's side, it's almost disrespectful. I mean, he played it with one holding mid. He really thought he was just going to run over United. They're just going to lay there and take it, But Rodri just running the mid, it was never really going to be a thing. Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne don't track back. It was just, borderline disrespectful.
Eddie, Anthony Martial, are you comfortable with him being the starting striker, or would you like to see a change there?
No, I think you've seen it that even Ten Hag is not comfortable with him being the striker, and that's why he went out and got Weghorst. But I think Man United and their style of play requires a striker to hold up the play and be there for when the transition does happen. And whether Weghorst is going to be that guy, who knows? I think I'm more excited about Jadon Sacho coming back into the squad and training with the squad again. That gives Ten Hag a lot more options. You hinted it at the game. Well, he hinted at the game where halftime he started Anthony at striker, and then he saw that wasn't working. So then he put Bruno at striker. And I think the team moved a lot better when he put Bruno at striker. So again, a striker is a need for the team, and Martial just, how many more chances do you want to give him for him to start producing? I think, we've already given him enough, and it's time to move on.
JC, Kevin De Bruyne, what kind of impact did you feel like he made in the game?
Honestly, if Fred just neutralized him, and honestly, it's perfect because Fred just doesn't get tired. The guy can just run all game, and it was a perfect call by Eric to just go ahead and man mark Kevin De Bruyne, and it really kind of just suppressed the whole City attack. Everything flows through him. He can spot a ball that many players can't spot. There's very few talents in the world today that can do and make the passes that he does, let alone have that vision. But to man mark him the way he did and just to make him uncomfortable is the number one thing you have to do for players like that. You've seen, many Madrid teams do it for Messi, and when Kante attacks a player for Chelsea like that, it's definitely hard, and it breaks up their whole style of play.
I'm going to ask you guys both this question, but I'm going to start with Eddie. Eddie, what is Ten Hag doing? What is Ten Hag doing well that has these guys rolling ever since the World Cup?
He's installing that discipline, and he's giving the players notice, right? That hey, if you don't start doing what we're asking you to do, there's a place on the bench for you, and I'll play the kids. I'm not afraid of doing that, and he showed that where he could have brought someone else on, but he brought on Garnacho. Looks like he has a full trust in the kid, and I think a lot of the players are now hinting at what Ten Hag is doing right. You heard Bruno at the end of the game and Marcus Rashford saying all the right things about the coach. It feels like a lot of United players in the past were wearing the United jersey for granted. And I think Ten Hag has brought that back to the club where, you must be proud and you must be willing to give it all if you're putting on the United shirt.
JC, same question.
It's the discipline. That's the first and foremost thing. Forever will be any club anywhere has to start with the coach sticking to his morals and the way he believes the team needs to run, and he's definitely sticking to it. He's never been afraid to put anybody on the bench. Everybody knows that anybody's spot could be taken at any minute. And even look at it, Eriksen has been starting every game since, I don't know how many games now it was, and he benched him for that game. biggest game of the year so far, you could say, in some instances. And he starts Fred for the first time since out in the league game since I don't know when. And he's sticking to it. It was awesome to hear even the commentators say this looks like the United of old, because it really did for once. It's not just a small flash like when you saw Ole was there and you got a little bit of it when Mourinho was there. You're really seeing a team that's gelled together, that's fighting, and that's really the United way. And it all starts with the coach's discipline and not taking anybody's name or price tag into consideration for anything, just the skill.
Eddie, are you okay if I put JC on the spotlight for a little bit?
Yeah,
Ooh.
go ahead.
JC, after
Let's
the
see it.
performance on Saturday, are you ready to say that Marcus Rashford
Never.
is the best player in
Never.
the EPL right now?
No, because honestly, if you look at the way he scored the goal, right before that goal, how many chances did he have in front of goal? And that he just absolutely botched. It's not hate, it's a fact. If you watch the game, he had two good plays, right? One of them was getting out of Bruno's way, which is the only thing he can do, right? And the second one, he just so happened to be standing there after Garnacho kicked the ball in. It's like Chicharito 2.0. Definitely not the best player in the EPL for sure. Is he in form? Yes. Which is why, he scored on those 7 bottom feeder teams and he was just in the right place at the right time for the other one. But definitely don't even start the conversation, man. It's too early into the season. Somebody else beat him out for player of the month, and apparently Rashford was lights out. So that tells you a lot right there.
Folks, go check out Compas on Twitter, Compas FC, or on TikTok, Compas FC11. This is what some fans.
Oh yeah, here we go. Let's do it. Yeah, I love it. Let's see. That looks like burner accounts. That's my counterpart right there on the burner accounts.
They were.
What are you talking about?
What are you on about?
6 games.
Yeah, he goes, what are you on about? In his career, Rashford has 6 goals against City, 8 against Chelsea, 8 against Arsenal, 7 against Liverpool, 4 against Spurs. Yet he's not a big-time player. And then,
first of all, those Spurs games, like who was playing for that Spurs team? Okay, Arsenal. All right, for sure. City, 8 games. Yeah, okay, whatever.
And then some other guy goes, if he's not scoring versus these teams, questions are asked, though. Plus, goal versus City and goal in the World Cup.
The World Cup. Bottom feeders.
Some other person goes, got the winner.
Yeah, I could stand there too and let Garnacho do all the work also. I mean, if you watch the game neutrally, you'll understand that the guy's just standing there. But okay, what do I know, right? I'm just watching the game.
Eddie, I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you think?
Oh, that's not even a fair question. Let me turn off my camera and go to sleep real quick.
It
when he's done drooling.
How United end the season, right? And if they end with any trophies or not, and what position they end up in the table. He's definitely in the conversation right now. The way he's playing, I think you can throw a Martin Odegaard in there, part of the conversation. Possibly a Haaland. He already has 21 goals in the Premier League.
Okay.
I think JC is extremely disrespectful to Rashford. For no reason whatsoever. He had more than 2 chances. He had 2 chances in the first half.
And he botched them all. What did he do?
And then we're not giving him credit for playing through pain. And then what happened? It looked like he was injured. And then
his
he came back
thumbs hurt from all the Twitter and Instagram posts.
Even Ten Hag came out after the game and said, this is what you need to be made of if you want to be a champion, if you want to be a great player.
Yeah,
and sometimes you have to play through the pain. I think that's what he was referring to.
Don't insinuate and don't make things up now. Don't take it out of context. His thumbs hurt. Relax.
Teams, they're game.
Oh, you rate goals. Everton?
They're game-winning goals.
You rate Bortman?
I think you rated Everton last podcast or the podcast before that one.
You rate him?
Again, stop disrespecting the kid.
Oh, stop disrespecting.
He's right now found form, which is what everyone's been asking for.
You didn't even pick him to win. Don't start.
You
didn't even pick him to win. Don't go come and defend him now. You didn't pick him to win. You're disrespectful.
This is why we get hate on TikTok.
Don't go back on your word.
Because of your takes like this.
What takes?
Get with the program.
I'm not a hype beast, bro. Come on.
Respect Rashford. That's all I gotta say.
There's no respect. You didn't even pick him to win.
I'm gonna go with your guys' favorite topic, Pep Guardiola. Before I ask you guys any questions, this is what he had to say.
Oh, my favorite.
About the title race. I don't care about the Premier League and the Carabao Cup. We cannot win. We won a lot, so it's a
Oh man.
problem. So it's not a problem. So I'm gonna start with Eddie. Eddie, what do you think about his words?
Just nonsense pep games. Always saying some blasphemous things to the media. Um, you know,
It's
obviously he
your boy.
cares about the Premier League. I'm pretty sure he's upset of not being part of the Carabao Cup, as we call the Man City Cup, the Pep Cup.
Yeah.
Um, you know, if you're a Man City fan, maybe you're okay with this, and you put all your marbles into the Champions League. Um, I'll say it right now,
Still
you're
won't
not
win it.
winning the Champions League. Man City is not winning the Champions League as long as Pep Guardiola is the manager of that club. That's another hot take. Give me all the hate you want. Um, he's known to bottle the big games. So could you really expect him to do it this time around? Um, I don't think so. And whatever's going on with their team, whether it's just Pep can't play with a striker, a real striker, or Pep is just some of his players are losing form, like a Kevin De Bruyne, a Bernardo Silva, a Phil Foden. Who knows? But I think definitely Pep is just being Pep and just talking blasphemous. The same thing Jurgen Klopp does when he goes on his pressers and starts saying blasphemous things like, "Oh, the pitch was dry," or this and this. You know what I'm saying? Things like that and things of that nature. So
Oh, good
again,
times.
don't take it literally that he doesn't care about the Premier League. Of course he cares.
I can't wait till Kevin De Bruyne comes out and be like, "We can't win this. We're too old," like he did with like he did with Belgium. But JC, what do you think? What's going on with Man City? They lost last week to they lost to Southampton 2-0 in the Carabao Cup, obviously, and then they lost to Manchester United, and then they played Tottenham this weekend. So that I'm sure that's gonna, or on Thursday they played Tottenham. I'm sure that's gonna be a tough game as well. So what do you think? What do you think is going on with them?
No, I think same old pet, we threw it around and it was really gonna be a make or break game when it came to seeing what he was made of and what this team was made of to some instances, because the title race is now about as close as it can be. Arsenal a couple points ahead, but anything could flip at a moment's notice in the Premier League. But for him to go out and say that the Carabao Cup and the Premier League Cup don't matter, he loaded his trophy cabinet with the Carabao Cup. And then, he brags about how many trophies he's winning in England, but now he doesn't care for the Carabao Cup. He just sounds like a sore loser. But definitely, it's what he does. He gets nervous in big games when there's a lot of pressure. He just panics and he chokes. He doesn't have any Iniesta and Xavi to bail him out this time. And like I said, the lineup was disrespectful. You just hold one holding mid as if Rodri's really going to be able to just handle all the United players coming at him at the same time. Silva, De Bruyne are not going to track back. You had a decent back line, but you just weren't set up to win, and you just thought, your arrogance took over. And that's really how I see it at the end of the day. He really just got a little too big headed. He thought it was the same old United, got punched in the nose the same way he did the game before that, didn't have a reaction. And now he's down 2 games. And if he loses the Conte and Spurs, watch out now, because you're going to see a lot of red flags. And if Spurs bounce back
Yeah.
versus Man
Okay.
City, exactly. You see, that's what I mean. If Spurs manage to get the game or even to steal a point from them, is going to be ridiculous because that's what they'd be doing, stealing a point. It's City's. Tottenham's got nothing to lose. They got everything to gain. City's got it all riding on that next game.
Eddie, moving on now back to Manchester United. Jadon Sancho's back at training. I know he had some things going on. He took a
hmm
leave of
hmm
absence. Now that he's back, what does he bring to the team?
Well, he gives Ten Hag a lot more options and possibly another striker to play with. I know JC hinted at this a couple episodes ago, but Jadon Sancho can really play that striker position. Um, and if that doesn't work, Ten Hag can put Bruno as striker and then move Sancho to the right. So it does give the players a lot more options. Does give Ten Hag a lot more to work with. And Jadon Sancho has proven that he's the type of player to come on and change games. So we're excited to have him back. I know he's been looking forward to being back, and I think Ten Hag wasn't such a leave of absence, but he was trying to get his mind right, his shape right, and now that he feels that he is, he's ready to integrate him back into the squad.
JC, same question.
Honestly, it almost comes off as a January transfer window move. Just the way he's going to come into the team and really have a big positive impact. There's really, I could feel like he could do no wrong because if you compare him to Marshall, and Marshall isn't doing anything, you're going to go and try to replace Martial with Sancho. I mean, why not? And if he comes off after this absence, it gives you 10 goals the rest of the season, combined competitions 10 plus. You're looking at, something that's going to be a huge impact for the team. From a playmaking standpoint, never afraid to hand the ball off to somebody else and set a play off. I've always liked how calm under pressure he's been. That's always probably been my favorite trait or favorite thing I've seen about him from a player standpoint. And his decision making is only going to get better under Ten Hag. The guy develops talent, and if he really gave him this patience, then that's why I feel like a lot of players have a lot of buy-in when it comes to him because he's still a player's coach at the end of the day. A lot of other players will be quick to rush him back and throw him into the game before he's ready. But he took the back seat, let him rest, let him relax, get his mind right, and now he's back to the team. It could very much seem like one of those transfer window type moves without necessarily being a transfer window type move.
Last question on Manchester United before we move on. Do you guys feel like Casemiro is still the best CDM in the world, JC? Especially because if you look right here, ever since he's come into Manchester United, 15 games, 11 wins, 8 clean sheets. JC, what do you think?
Oh, I know all about Casemiro and what he brings to the team. Some people like to act like he's not the reason for the team firing off in attack. We've been missing and hinting at needing a holding mid forever and a day. But I like the recent report that came out where he allegedly, supposedly told his agent that he'd come to United and fix it all. You were just one good defensive mid away from running away from it all. But him being the absolute best, it's a tough say. It's a tough say. The numbers do show everything. The man's won just about everything except for a World Cup. He's going to come to United and win a couple more trophies. But the best at the moment, yes. The best in the world, that's playing actively. I would probably have to say so, yeah, because there's a couple guys that are sitting out that could definitely give him a run for his money, but they're not playing. So I'd have to agree. N'Golo Kante? Kante?
I don't know. I would have to side with Casemiro.
Yeah.
Casemiro's been doing it for longer.
Biased. Don't be biased now.
No, I'm not being biased.
Casemiro to me has been the best since 2017.
It's the Kante position. That's all I gotta
We're
say
talking about
that.
someone who's consistent, rarely misses a game,
All right.
imposes himself physically,
No red cards ever.
has an understanding of positioning and where to be and where not to be, can sniff out danger, can give
Kante
that pass.
doesn't do that. Kante doesn't do that. Kante doesn't do that.
Not the way
Kante
this
doesn't have
guy's
the vision
done it.
that Casemiro has.
Kante doesn't do that.
Honestly, we've seen last year against Manchester City, he wasn't there the first leg with Madrid, and they lost 4-3. And in the second leg, they had him, and they ended up winning the game. Like I think he's a difference maker.
Like I said, the best playing right now, actively playing, yes. But overall, including players that are injured, could be playing. He's up there. He's rated. He's top 3 for sure.
That big question mark over Kante and whether or not he's coming back as the Kante we know him to be.
I don't think we really need a question mark anything on Kante's
you have
resume.
a thing for picking French midfielders that are injury prone. I just
he's injury prone. It's the first time he's been out, my guy. You act like he didn't just win Chelsea.
I think Casemiro's resume is a lot bigger than Kante's.
Kante's got a World Cup. And he was the biggest part of it all going there. So
this fool has 5 Champions Leagues.
Well, he's got a Champions League. He's got 2 Premier Leagues. He's got some other, accolades besides the World Cup. So
it's the Kante position, bro.
But Eddie, I would still say Casemiro. I think, bar none, he's been the most consistent throughout the last 5 years. I would say. People questioned whether he could really make it in the Premier League and do the things he was doing for Madrid, and he silenced everyone. He silenced all the English pundits. He silenced a lot of the coaches who thought that he wasn't a good fit. And the Manchester United is reaping the rewards of it.
The only thing I do get frustrated with Casemiro, and we saw it on Saturday. Sometimes he gives up the ball at weird times, and that kind of makes you like pull out your hair. But other than that, I really do think that dude's he's as solid as a rock. But moving on, over the weekend, very good matchup: Arsenal versus Tottenham. Arsenal ends up getting the win 2-0. JC, I'm going to start off with Eddie. I'm going to start off with you. Is Arsenal that good, or is Tottenham that bad?
Wow. Nah, for sure. Arsenal
Pleasure.
are just that good right now, right? I think they're one of the most informed teams in the world right now. And Odegaard's playing out of his mind. He's playing like a Premier League, team of the year contender. Certainly, he had a great goal. But you also have to look at the first goal and question some of the things Lloris is doing as of late. Giving up, cheap goals.
He busted at the
Um,
hair.
I wouldn't say that.
I do.
Not being as commanding as before. Maybe it's time for Tottenham to move on. But overall, if you look at this Arsenal squad, they've been looking really solid, man. I think, Granit Xhaka, he had a lot of controversy in the past regarding the club, and now he's put his head down and he's looking rock solid. Thomas Partey is finally healthy and looking good. Gabriel, surprisingly, played a great game and kept Harry Kane pretty quiet. The only question mark you have on Arsenal is whether Nketiah could lead the line. I liked what I saw from the kid. He had like two chances. Arsenal's going to want him, going down the road to score those type of chances. But I like that he likes to link the play. He's always trying to be involved and creating space for others. So, yeah, Arsenal are the real deal. And Tottenham are just, that's the history of Tottenham.
JC, what do you think?
Oh, definitely. They ran over them. The game was over within the first 20 minutes. You expect to see more fight, at least for Tottenham. There was literally no fight. Um, they were able to get a few chances, but they really didn't cause any harm. I feel like, a lot of Arsenal fans are going back on their word when they were yelling up and down that they wanted Arteta out. And now look at them being Arteta fans. It's funny to see. I love to see the transition, and definitely a lot of things coming together. From the midfield back, you just see almost a perfect game from a lot of these guys. Some of the higher scores that you've seen. Um, Martinelli doing all right down the wing. Not too much to worry about there with those defenders he had to face. Yeah, Spurs just has a lot of holes and a lot of things they need to work on. And Odegaard, man, I know a team out in Spain probably wishes he had him back right now, but he's definitely justifying his price tag and showing up real well. But I think Partey was a little bit of a sleeper there. That shot that hit the post was just nuts, man. I don't know you guys remember that one, but to see him show up that way. But they just steamrolled Spurs, and it's the history of Tottenham. And you almost
was
feel
a
bad
fan
for
of Mikel
Conte.
Arteta and was who called it before any of us? Who had
Hey,
that lock?
break it.
Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, masterclass.
So, it's crazy, man.
Talk to him.
Tottenham, how are you gonna have Kulusevski and Son end up playing the game at left back and right back? There's something
Ridiculous.
fundamentally wrong with that team. Romero, bum, he's a bust. Sorry. Even in the World Cup, he didn't look confident at all. He didn't
They're
look
still
like
holding on to Dyer.
he's
Come on.
terrible. Eric Dyer, time to move on.
Just don't want to win.
It doesn't look like a Conte team, right? It looks like
Hell no.
it wasn't. It also looks like Mourinho wasn't the problem after all, because
It clearly wasn't.
Mourinho had Son and Harry Kane firing, and then they move on, and now Harry Kane's been quiet, and Son has been, a shadow of himself. So what's going on, Tottenham?
Yeah, the whole team is completely a mess. And like I said, Manchester City, they play Manchester City on Thursday. That'll be an interesting matchup. Next, let's move to the FA Cup. Liverpool beats the Wolves 1-0. They will face Brighton in the next round. JC, what did you think about this matchup?
Another bleep show. You already know, man. First, the VAR doesn't work the previous game, and this is the reason why we have to have a replay now. And then Wolves just get snubbed, man. Nothing to take away from Harvey, but if the goalkeeper is not going to stand on his line, why not shoot, right? But It's tough to say, man. One VAR decision caused the game, and now Liverpool's in another competition. It's almost like a gimme game for them. I don't get it. Gakpo, I guess, found
Shout
a few
out.
spots. He found a few spots. He didn't look too bad out there. He's trying to adjust himself. Thiago's a waste of space. But honestly, you just hate to see Wolves lose. I feel like the better team lost for sure. And this should have never been a replay. What did the lights go out this game too? Like it's
Yeah.
just one bad thing after another. It's almost like Liverpool just absolutely had to win and carry on in this tournament since Man City was out.
It seems like Wolves won with their scrubs because Raul
Oh my
Jimenez is
bad,
in there.
Man City's
Uh,
Flocks.
Certainly
My
a lot
bad.
of squad rotation in both sides.
Yeah.
Eddie, what do you think? What do you think about this matchup, or what do you think
Yeah,
about it?
like JC said, it should have never been a thing. I think Wolves should have, gone through to the next round. It's unfortunate that they're out of the competition due to a mistake by the referee and accumulation of things like the VAR not being calibrated and not having the right camera angle. But I think, if you're Klopp and you're Liverpool, it's a sigh of relief because Klopp was under heavy pressure over what happened to them over the weekend. Again, he came out in the media and said that he'll leave when he's asked to leave. Other than that, he plans to stay as long as he can. So how Liverpool fans feel about that, they can let us know in the comments. Is it time for a change, or is it time to
There
keep
you go.
Klopp and keep trusting him?
Look at him! Look at him! He knows what he's doing. Good job, Eddie, on that one, plugging it in, talking about the comments. Guys, one quick question for you guys: what is Chelsea doing with all these signings? They've look at these are all the signings that they've made since Todd Bowley took over. Just what JC, can you make a sense of all these signings that they've made?
It doesn't. No, not at all. I
Okay.
understand. I understand what Thomas signed, right? Because he's responsible for a couple of these. Because he
Yeah,
didn't need many pieces. He had a complete team for the most part, and he just
they
needed
just
to
won
add a few.
Champions Leagues 2 years ago.
Exactly. And how do you end up here signing this nothing against this new Ukrainian superstar they're trying to frame him to be.
I
The
wanted him on
price tag's
Arsenal.
too the price tag's too heavy. Wesley Fofana now, Cucurella playing left back, left mid, left wing. Nobody can find a position for this guy. Raheem Sterling, 56 mil on the back end of his career. Um, you're just kind of wishing on a few guys to come in and really just kind of bail you out. I feel like the franchise is really just trying to sign players to keep the franchise fans happy and to keep them in the seats. And hey, we're trying to get you a squad here, but you already had one. You already had a squad. You had Thomas Tuchel firing at all angles, and you fired the guy only you know why. And now here you are with this mess of a team, and how you gonna sort it out?
Eddie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Todd Bowley, since coming in, has been joining all these Twitter live chats and asking the fans who they think they should sign, and then the next
Oh
day he
man,
goes out and signs them. So,
I'm
you
telling
know,
you.
I'll say it's a lot more than he's done a lot more in 2 months than the Glazers have done for United in how long? But to be honest, jokes aside, I think I thought it was funny that they hijacked Mudryk from Arsenal. um, but again, what are they doing? What's Graham Potter
Unnecessary.
doing? Are these signings that Graham Potter necessarily asked for, or are these things that the board decided to do on their own and just give the players to Graham Potter and say, hey, plug them and see how it works. I think the best thing that's happened so far is them getting Joao Felix on the loan, right? I think last
Oh, don't diss
podcast
Koulibaly.
last podcast I said, what's Joao doing going from a disastrous team to another disastrous team? But I gotta say, he looked like their best player before he got sent off against Fulham. So I think we'll touch on that right now. But yeah, what's Chelsea doing? I don't know. I think they already spent 500 mil or something like that. Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, JC, is this sustainable? I mean, do you
Oh,
feel like
no, they're so upside down. It doesn't even make sense, man. It's just like now you're gonna come in. You want to see Potter go through and pick his team and and do his process and play his style. But where does this even make sense? Where are the dots connecting? What player complements the other player? You're going to get another coach in here that's going to do what? Sign more players, and they're going to sign more players and put more players on loan. Is it the Chelsea way to just buy players and put them on loan and then just try to cash out however way you can? I don't see it making any sense. If I'm an owner, I'm scared from throwing all this money away. And are you even asking the coach if he wants these guys, or are you just signing them? That's a solid point there, But is it scary?
Eddie, so what did you make of Joao Felix's debut?
He looked lively. He was linking play. He had a couple shots on target.
It's for him, man.
I'm surprised, right? That you can just come in and the next day you're plugged into the squad and you look like you're not out of place. It's unfortunate that you got that red card, but deservedly so. I think his stats were extremely high, definitely endangering the opposition, and I think he's suspended for 3 games. So Joao Felix had a disastrous showing. He had a great showing up until that point, right? So yeah, it's you're excited if you're a Chelsea fan to see what he can do. But again, it's unfortunate that he's getting this 3-game suspension.
Now let's go to the table, and we see how the table stacks up right now. Arsenal still in first place with 47 points. They are 8 points clear of Manchester City. Newcastle is in third place with 38 points, tied with Manchester United. And then there's a gap between Manchester United and Tottenham with 5. And then Fulham, that's very impressive that Fulham is 6. And then you go over here and Liverpool and Chelsea are battling it out for 9th and 10th spots. And Leicester City is down at 17 or at 15 with 17 points. Guys, I got to ask you guys, third place, Newcastle. Are they J.C., are they legit or not? What do you think?
Yeah, they're playing like a strong team. They definitely all are on the same page. Everybody's playing for the crest, and the coach is getting the most out of them. The morale's at an all-time high, and you can see why. I mean, 38 points, 19 games played, 10 wins, 1 loss. Come on, bro. 1 loss. I mean, it's like they're allergic to losing or something. But I think that's just a reflection of the coach and the team really buying in. And they got him as players. Guimaraes, you even got to say anything. Almiron was looking like a player of the year already candidate not too long ago. It's tough to tell. Couple games coming up, but they're definitely deserving of being back in the top race, and they're long overdue. Nothing against Newcastle, but they were definitely overdue for a run like this, and good for them.
Eddie, what do you think?
Yeah, shout out to all the Newcastle fans who've been loyal through relegation and all these tough times of being the laughing stock of the league when they were up, and takes a lot of dedication to be one of those fans. But again, yeah, I think they're definitely title contenders. I think most of the media was like disrespecting them and saying they weren't part of it. Absolutely, they're part of it. They have 1 loss to the name. I know Eddie Howe is looking for ways for their team to squeak out victories like they did over the weekend, 1-0. If they didn't tie so many games, maybe we'd be talking about them being ahead of Arsenal at this point in time. So again, they have players like JC mentioned, like Almiron, who's playing out of his mind. Trippier, who looks like revitalized since joining. Dan Burn, if you know Dan Burn, he's been playing lights out as well, holding that back line. Big fella, shout out. And then Nick Pope, finally getting a chance for playing for a great club. Love to see it. So yeah, definitely title contenders.
Eddie, who gets fired first? What does West Ham fire Moyes first, or does Everton fire Lampard first?
What were they calling it? El Sakiko, or who gets sacked first? Who has more pedigree? It's got to be David Moyes. So you'd have to say Lampard gets the axe first. I think the Everton board have been extremely patient with Frank, and the supporters are over it. The club looks like they're going back. They just lost to Southampton 2-1, so things are not looking good out there. I think David Moyes, that deep cup run that he had with them last season, getting them up to the top six. I think he's done a fantastic job at West Ham. I think it's just players are out of form. Whereas Frank Lampard, he doesn't look like he's getting the best out of the team. So if I were to pick, I think Lampard gets the sack first, and then I think it's going to be a toss up between David Moyes and Brendan Rodgers to be the next coach to be fired in the Premier League. So we'll see.
Before I go to JC, Southampton, Everton, and West Ham are all tied with 15 points down in relegation.
Relegation.
So that's pretty interesting to see. But JC, what do you think?
Oh, for sure, Lampard. Yeah, he's living off of his football career for long enough. It's time to stop judging that guy like a player and judging him like a coach. Everton just has bigger problems than picking a head coach from the looks of it. Possibly time for a new sporting director because they don't really seem to have a direction going on. You kind of saw a glimpse of hopes when Ancelotti was over there for a little bit, but the man moved on to greener pastures, and you all saw what happened after he left. But it's Everton's out of all major competitions now. At least West Ham is still competing in the Conference Cup, or what do they call it nowadays? But they're still out there. They're still in a couple tournaments, and they're fighting for a little bit more than relegation. So I think Lampard out, Moyes. He's got a little pedigree to his name from a coaching standpoint, and I feel like if anybody can turn it around for them, it's going to be him.
So obviously now we head to La Liga, it's not La Liga, it was the Spanish Super Cup in Saudi Arabia. Real Madrid lose to Barcelona 3-1 in the game. It just seems like Barcelona were on it. Madrid looked, I don't know, out of it. Just or JC, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, good for Barcelona finally doing something with their lives.
Oh, by the way, it's the first cup that Xavi's won, so everybody was celebrating that.
Efecto Xavi. No, definitely. Good for them. They're there. It's good for the competition and good to see them. Doing all right. But not too much to take away from this one. The Super Cup. Not really sure how much anybody really kind of glorifies this cup.
A little better than the Audi Cup.
A little better, and that's a freaking friendly tournament beginning of the season. Bayern Munich's cup to lose,
But, Barcelona fans didn't care about it before, but now they care about it. It's a big time deal.
And that's what I'm getting at. It's just
they
like
they really count this, in their Carabao Cup. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Right now it doesn't matter, but good for them. They won. I think their star boy Gavi was their most influential player. And good to see them come around, but this really doesn't determine anything for anybody. Yeah, here goes Xavi and Barcelona getting to stuff the trophy cabinet again, and to hold one over Real Madrid is going to be great for them. I just think there's a huge fatigue factor for Real Madrid. All their players were out in the World Cup, and Barca really didn't lose too much, when it came to players going to the World Cup. And make of it what you want. Barcelona won at the end of the day, but nothing really kind of impressive for me.
Eddie, what do you think?
Sure. I mean, JC hit on it right. Look, the Madrid players look fatigued. Let's be honest. And the one thing we've always criticized Ancelotti for is this lack of squad rotation, and maybe that's playing a part in it as well. But again, great for Barcelona to get this one over Real Madrid. It's always a thing. But again, this Super Cup, the Spanish Super Cup. Come on, let's not blow this out of proportion. I said last podcast, if you're a Madrid fan, it's really not a lot for you to worry about. I think you have bigger things to worry about, maybe like winning La Liga and getting a deep run into the Champions League again. If you're Barcelona, you'll take any win you can. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this cup. Good for Barcelona. Good for Xavi to finally get a trophy. But, yeah.
So we move on now. Eddie, speaking of, we'll stay with Real Madrid. There seems to be tension with Carlo Ancelotti and some of the players over injuries, fatigue. I guess Carlos asked for a backup striker. They don't want to buy anybody yet. He's asked for some other players. They said that they're going to wait till the summer. I guess Carlo had a talk with the players, and he said, "Hey, besides goalie, we need everybody else to step up." I guess he thinks that Thibaut Courtois is still playing at a very high level, which he is, but that he needs everybody else to step up. David Alaba injured. Tchouaméni injured. Modric has asked for time. Well, they're giving Modric the next 3 games off because I guess he's exhausted from the World Cup run. There's other players who, like Vinicius, who still haven't gotten in form. Rodrigo still kind of feels like he's out of it as well. Just what do you make of everything going on? And do you feel like that's kind of a little bit of a price that you pay for having the World Cup halfway through a season?
Yeah, certainly. We touched on that during the World Cup. Like, how is this going to affect club play once the World Cup is over? And we're seeing it now where players are coming back and they're getting injured, and they're not playing up to par to what the club is expecting of them. But again, this is just the type of pressure that a manager gets when they play for a club. They manage a club like Real Madrid. The expectation is always there to win. And right now, I can understand why Ancelotti's looking for other options and maybe bolstering their squad during the transfer window. But if Florentino says no, Florentino says no, and it's up to Ancelotti to figure out a way to get the best out of his players. It's great that he's giving some of these players rest, like a Modric. Modric 38. He needs the rest. You're really banking on Vinicius finding his form again, Rodrigo finding some form, and just go from there. So again, if they're able to do that and they're able to come back healthy, I don't see no problem with them
Yeah.
getting
Some of
back
the
on
talk,
track.
has also been that they feel like Vinicius is now waiting for guys to hit him so that he can get into their faces,
Mhm.
and that's kind of taken away from what he does. And there's just a lot of that stuff too. And but JC, what do you make of everything going on over there?
Ooh, I feel like this is what happens when you win absolutely everything. You get moments like this where, you just need to respark the team and you need to respark the locker room. And, it's going to take a true captain on the field to go ahead and just rally everybody and make everybody calm down at the end of the day. That Ramos voice isn't there anymore and it's showing. And, there's a Real Madrid standard and they're definitely not living up to it right now. And just a multi-champion league team standard that, if you don't even want to put the Real Madrid name on it. But that's definitely what we were anticipating to happen after a mid-season World Cup. Guys are going to be fatigued. You wouldn't be having this conversation and you wouldn't be seeing a lot of things happening that are happening today if it wasn't for this World Cup happening a couple months ago. But it sucks to see now that we have to live through a post mid-season World Cup. And that's really the biggest factor in it all. I think Madrid just needs to get a respark, and a captain needs to step in there and check a lot of these young guys and let them know where they're at and the standard they need to play at.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Let's check in with Liga MX now and
Ooh.
see what's been going on over there. There are 7 teams that are undefeated still after I think it's 2 weeks of La Liga play. Obviously, Club America, Atlas, Chivas, Tigres, León, San Luis, and Club Deportes de Toluca. Eddie, what have you thought? What have you thought about Liga MX so far? What stood out to you?
The goals, I think that's what stood out the most to me. There's been a lot of games where it's 3-2, 2-2, 2-1. We're not used to seeing that in Liga MX. We're used to seeing games that are 0-0 or 1-0. They barely squeak out the victory. But seeing games with more goals and more regularly, I think that's great for the league. What's also surprising is that Tigres right now is leading the league. They're in first place. But Chivas is in there competing. Fernando has really done a great job, I think, of solidifying the team. I wasn't a believer at first, but he's making me into a believer. Don't sleep on my lock, though, Puebla. I called it a long time ago. They're there making noise. They're still there, banging in goals. The biggest surprise, I think, over the weekend was Pachuca losing 4-1 to Tigres. What's going on there? Are the players, again, fatigued, not informed? What's going on? Is the coach, leaning on leaving his stand right there in Pachuca and becoming the next Mexican national team manager? Who knows? There's a lot of speculation going on around that.
Hope not.
But great for the league. If you're a Liga MX fan, I'm sure you're excited of seeing all these games and seeing all these goals.
JC, it seems like you have something to say.
Yeah, I'm with Mariano _Reese 7 and Mr. Firme over here. It's the second game of the season, guys. Come on, let's not start double tapping if your team's undefeated. Get out of here. It's just typical hype. I guess if you really want to have a silver lining in this little thing you got going on here is Atletico San Luis off to a 2-game win. And their first game was, so-so, nothing too crazy to brag about, but they're just a bottom of the table team for so long. They got bought out by Atletico de Madrid, and they have a franchise partnership now, and that's the only real surprise you see here. But other than that, it's the first 2 games of the season. Nothing to really start losing your head about, or can't start crowning champions after 2 weeks. It's too soon. The Pachuca thing was a surprise because is the coach 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it's a bad look for the clubhouse. If you're already assuming you're going to be 1 foot out, and then you don't get the job, and now you got to go back to show these guys, and everybody's a transfer rumor target now from that team since they were so winning. It's a tough look for them. You never want to lose that way after becoming champion, and everybody's coming for your neck, and it's the second week. Let's not lose our heads about this.
No, I completely agree with you. Well, now I thought we'd do a fun segment. What's on social media? Hey, let's have some fun.
Let's see. Same old Chargers.
It's ecstasy. Astonishing. This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions.
All right, let's see what's going on social media. Oh, you'll love this one. We were talking about Pep earlier. Well, guess what Pep is getting credit for?
No, don't start.
Pep is getting credit for all these guys.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, here we go.
Is there a Ten Hag picture in there, too?
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, my God.
Where's the 10? They forgot Ten Hag.
Yeah, they forgot Ten Hag.
Yeah, they sent to the reserve squad.
But you have to see why. You have to show the first or second place. So Barcelona's in first place. So they have Pep with Xavi. Obviously. Oh my God, this is hilarious. So what do you guys make of this, Eddie?
This is ridiculous. No, Mikel Arteta plays nothing like Pep. Yeah, Xavi doesn't play anything like Pep. I don't know. This is ridiculous. I don't want to see this. Who makes these is what I question.
ESPN FC.
Oh, ESPN FC.
Yeah,
the biggest Barcelona and Pep lovers.
But look at the first comment. Can't wait for Messi's coaching career.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no.
JC, what do you make of this?
How do these people get verified, man? Like, who is this?
You can buy it now for $8 a month.
Oh, yeah? Oh, for real? That's all it costs? Oh, yeah, 100 for the year. What do I get?
On Twitter, I think, right?
What does 100 a year get me? No, this is just typical ESPN FC. Just hyping, just trying to keep this guy gaslighted, and takes 2 L's, and now he gets credit for other people's work. Literally, like you're just gonna literally destroy these guys' runs that they're having. Barcelona over there top, and Real Madrid speaks volumes because nobody was really.
If that's the case, let's credit Marcelo Bielsa with Pep, right? He says that's his idol. Well, let's credit Marcelo Bielsa and say if it wasn't because of Marcelo Bielsa, then we wouldn't be talking about Pep being one of the best managers of all time. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. ESPN, what are you doing? Like, are you guys okay with this?
No, I know what they're doing. They always do this. Yeah, no.
I can't wait what they come out with on Thursday when they play freaking Tottenham.
Here is from Goal asking a serious question. Who is the best duo right now in the EPL?
The quality right here. Well, I don't know why Tottenham's there, but not watching games.
About that.
Hey, I really like Hermano Coreano for life right there. Did a lot of great things over there. But I think he's definitely over the hill, unfortunately, or he's just needs a break. But I don't know. Holland and them, they've been pretty quiet lately. I know Bruno can really make anybody.
I think ever since JC called out Holland, I think he's been really quiet.
I've been trying to tell you, bro. I didn't jinx them. I
I
just
think
saw what nobody
the
else
best
saw.
bromance there has got to be Bruno and Rashford. I think
You're ridiculous. Only
Rashford
regarding
really takes
Saka.
on to Bruno's leadership, and it's great to see.
How does a guy that comes from the academy have to come in and be the second fiddle to somebody else? Just stop, okay?
That's okay.
Next question. Next question.
Last one here. Now they're asking who's the ESPN FC, who's the brightest star, or who's the future is bright for which of these guys? Who's your favorite youngster right now?
There it is.
They have to have Pedri in there when Gabi's the one doing all the work.
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
Bleep.
Jude Bellingham, my guy.
Future Real Madrid player.
I have to say anything else? He's not going to Real Madrid. I'm telling you now that these rumors are swirling that he's going to Liverpool. I told you a long time ago.
Nobody wants to go to Liverpool.
First. You heard it here first.
Nobody wants to go to Liverpool.
Scousers are crying for Jude Bellingham to be their savior. Crying. And do not doubt me when I say that Klopp and Liverpool are willing to shell out 150 million to bring.
He's not a captain save-a-ho. He can't save that team.
Hey, I don't know, man. But honestly, the biggest talent on this photo is got to be Jude Bellingham. It's got to be. He's the best all-around player on this photo here.
What do you think, JC?
Yeah, I don't like how they're already gassing up Fernando. Let the kid be a kid. Saka, definitely a big piece to the Arsenal run.
Fernando was impressive on Saturday.
He's got a great coach, But
like he sparked, he sparked that when he came back. When he came in,
look, he's fearless. And I told you, did you hear it? I was like, look, they're giving him the Ronaldo song, Viva Garnacho.
Yeah,
like I'm telling you, man, this kid is special. Yeah. And if coach continues to trust in him and he continues to trust in coach, then sky's the limit for the kid. But right now,
I'm surprised they didn't sneak in a Pep effect somewhere in there too. ESPN FC. How are they all related to Pep?
In there.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna give you guys real quick a game. You tell me the winner. We'll just go Eddie, then JC, then Eddie, then JC. So Tottenham, Man City.
Man City.
JC.
No, who cares? Tottenham. Let's go.
All right. Saturday at 4:30 a.m. Liverpool, Chelsea. Eddie.
Chelsea.
West Ham and Everton.
West Ham.
Oh man, West Ham, but something tells me they're gonna draw.
Man City, Wolves.
Yeah, Man City.
Arsenal, Man United.
Man United.
Oh, now you're picking us? Mm-hmm. Now the draw this time?
They already beat them 3-1.
Yeah, they already beat them. Yeah, whatever. United all the way.
Fulham, Tottenham.
Draw.
Fulham.
Clint Dempsey. Hey, shout out Clint Dempsey.
The deuce.
It's going to be a draw.
Well, folks, it's been another great episode of Compas FC. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, commenting. Let us know what you like about the show. If you have any questions for the fellas, obviously they're here to, or criticism, they're here. They're open to it. They like
get fired up.
I think they feed off of the criticism more than they do the love. So definitely these guys are special, but we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out everything else that's Compas on the Beat Network. What's up, Bolts? Dan and Dago and I will be breaking down on Wednesday afternoon. Brandon Staley has his press conference. It seems like he will be returning. So is general manager Tom Telesco. Wednesday we will be talking to we will be talking to Brandon Staley. Dan and Diego and I will have the full breakdown of what coaching changes. They've already fired their offensive coordinator, their quarterbacks coach, and linebackers coach. Are more changes coming? I'll have all that for you guys Wednesday afternoon. Don't forget to check out Compas on the Beat. Obviously, we break down exactly what happened on Wild Card Weekend, what to expect for the divisional. Are the Cowboys for real after beating Tampa Bay? Could they take it to the 49ers? That'll remain to be seen. Obviously, some great games. Philly, the Giants. You can Trevor Lawrence pull off another upset and go into Kansas City and beat Kansas City? I try to tell the guys this game's going to be a lot closer than what people think. Let's see if I'm right about that. And obviously, more great games. Hey, Joe Cool versus Josh Allen. You know that game's going to be pretty epic. So
one.
we have a lot of games out there to check out. Obviously, Combat Compas, a lot of changes are coming in WWE. A lot of stuff is going on. People are leaving the company. Stephanie McMahon has stepped down. Vince McMahon is now back. Triple H is trying to stiff arm him, trying to get him not to take control of creative. We'll see what happens with that. We'll have a lot of more stuff for you on Combat Compas. Hey, it was announced Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis have signed. Supposedly they have a contract that's ready to go. Now we'll see what happens. Gilbert and I will have more on that pretty soon when we do Combat Compas. And don't forget, Royal Rumble's up next, so we will have a full breakdown of the Royal Rumble and who we expect to win it. But we appreciate you guys again. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you guys love about the show. If you guys want to ask the fellas any questions, got that too. To be a compa, tell a compa. Thank you guys so much for checking out the 10th edition of Compas on the Beat or Compas FC. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, ESPN FC, step up your game.